The Wally Show podcast is our daily radio show heard live through the WayFM app each morning and hosted by Wally, Gavin, and me, Betty Rock. For more fun, be sure to connect with us at wayfm.com/Wally.
The Wally Show podcast is brought to you by Colorado Christian University Online, where you can earn a degree online just like Betty Rock. You can learn more at ccu.edu/Wally. Things you didn't know you needed to know today. It's News-ish with Betty.
This might be helpful for you if you're in a relationship. It's a new relationship hack, and it's about how to win a fight.
Oh, I love this.
Or just, I guess, have a neutral party involved, okay? Maybe you can't afford a relationship therapist, and so this is your next best thing. It's involving ChatGPT. So you can get ChatGPT on any computer or any phone. But what you do is, since it's a computer, it can stay a natural party in your disagreement, okay? What you do is you feed it the details of the disagreement and the stance of each party.
Okay.
Then it'll come out with okay, this is who's right and this is who's wrong.
I love that because it's going to be completely unbiased and it's going to be very cold and calculated. It's going to look at facts because it doesn't have feelings.
Right.
And so that's a good thing. Here's the problem. The only problem I see with this, you have to input the two sides of the story first. And so I want to have a look at what the other person is writing, because they could be totally skewing the facts going in, which is going to skew the results. You have to come to an agreement on what each person is putting in to then see what the result is.
Well, and two, they did warn. They said that while the computer is a neutral party, it can give an answer that sounds biased. It all depends on how you ask the question. For example, if you're giving your side of the argument and you say, "And I think they're being a jerk. Am I nuts?"
Yeah.
Like, if you use those words, making it very biased, it could come with a biased answer.
Okay. I could see that.
So one guy, he had personal experience with all this. He said that him and his girlfriend, when they would get in arguments, that his girlfriend would put a stop to the argument, go into a separate room, and get involved with ChatGPT, okay? Then she would come back out, and she would have this well-constructed argument.
Oh, my God.
That's not fair.
Towards him. So then he says, listen, you've got to stop. Stop going to ChatGPT and figuring all this out. Then his girlfriend goes to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT says, well, he's just being insecure.
Oh, my gosh. That's not a horrible idea, because people will use ChatGPT to write like a difficult email that they're not sure how to phrase. And so if you're in this argument, hold please, and you run in there, it's like going to your girlfriends and telling them all your problems.
Exactly.
Oh, my goodness. There's part of me, though, too, that if I'm curious about ChatGPT. If I were to enter in something and my wife were to enter in something, mine would be factual and quick. My wife's would be flowery and detail-oriented. And at some point in time, a ChatGPT's got to just go, oh, dude, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I can't even take this. I'm going to tell her something. You and I know the truth. I'm just going to tell her something to make your life easier, okay? Okay. Uplifting WayFM, this is the Wally Show, and we can be inspired by people who maybe aren't supposed to inspire us. We're supposed to inspire them, and sometimes that script gets flipped. And Gavin, you found a case of that.
Yeah, it was about Brandon Lake and his dad, an inspiration. You might know Brandon Lake from his song Praise You Anywhere.
I'll praise you anywhere. Praise, give him praise, and the highest praise.
I still love this song, man. He's so great. His other song, Count 'Em, I love that.
He's got a ton of great music, and it was really cool. He posted this video on his Instagram where he was talking to his dad, and his dad was talking about, being in his 60s and who has influenced him, and he had an awesome answer.
I just turned 60, and I was thinking, who's influenced me the most since I've turned 60? Then all of a sudden it hit me. It's you. You are the most influential person in my life in my 60s. And so I trust God more today at 63 than I do years ago, but it's because of you.
Is Brandon crying in that clip? Is he crying?
A little bit of the manly tears.
What a baby.
Yeah, that's right.
No, that's awesome to
that
say
would have
because
wrecked me.
that takes a lot of humility to tell your child who is years younger than you, you inspire me to be a better person. Man, that's humbling. That's awesome.
That's all. I've had conversations with my dad before he died, which stuck with me. And because he had no idea what I was going to grow up and end up doing.
Sure.
You know, it looked like failure for a long time for me. And then all of a sudden I get in this job and I go into mainstream radio and I'm part of a bunch of really messy, bad things. And I'm sure he was disappointed in that stuff that I was doing, you know. And so then I come to Christian radio and he gets to listen to it and like enjoys it and loves it. And it was really cool, like years later before he passed away, just to hear him say he was proud of the man that I had become, you know, and what I was doing. And so I can feel that in Brandon for sure. Like that means a lot, you know. And so this is what we want to talk about. 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. How have your kids inspired you? Because I know I want to be an inspiration to my daughter, but, you know, I'm hoping that she's a better person than me and like ends up inspiring me as well, you know.
And the bar is set really low.
Oh, I did. Yes, I did. I set it real low, so she could accomplish it.
Yeah, she can impress you easily.
Oh, absolutely. And so I'm curious for you, like it can be your adult child, could be even your little child. Sometimes your kids inspire you with their faith even at a young age, you know. And so what's that story for you? Just kind of like Brandon Lake and his dad. 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. We'll take yours now. What is the time that your kid inspired you?
My kid does it daily. He's autistic, but he's a high-functioning autistic. And on Easter a couple years ago, he prayed that Mommy, I was a server at the time, that Mommy would make money. Like, he did it up at the altar so that Mommy didn't have to work holidays anymore and that Mommy could come home early. And that day, I had somebody pay my electric bill for me.
Oh, wow.
On top of that, they gave me a $500 tip cash and then continued to pray with us at the table and then had got my phone information, and they check in with us all the time. But since that, my son, his prayer life has been out of this world. He says, "Oh, you got a problem? I'll pray for it. It'll be taken care of. Don't worry anymore."
Boy, that's a great faith that we all need to have as adults, because how many times do we, you know, pray about something, but then we want to take the control back of it, you know, because we don't ultimately trust that God's going to handle it the way we want it handled. And so I love that, and that is definitely inspirational, Amanda. Thank you for sharing the story about you and your son.
There's no words to what he does daily to my face.
What is the time your kid inspired you?
My son inspires me every day. He was born with a stroke, having cerebral palsy. We were told he wasn't going to ever be able to walk. Not only does my son walk academically, he keeps up with his grade level. He's now in his first year in college. Not only that, he's earned his Eagle Scout rank. And every day he reminds me I have nothing to complain about because he's overachieved more things in his short life than I can ever imagine.
That's amazing. I love when you see people that weren't dealt the best hand rise above it and not use it as an excuse to not succeed, but rather use it as rocket fuel to propel them to greatness. Because being an Eagle Scout is no easy thing.
It's a long commitment, and he started when he was 6 years old as a Cub Scout and completed last year giving back to a daycare that he attended that also provides special needs.
Oh.
And so he was very excited to be able to go back to them and give back to them as much as they've given him.
That's really cool. As a mom, I bet just watching him walk and accomplish the things that people said he couldn't do, it has to be amazing for you.
Absolutely. He inspires me every single day to keep going, and don't let anything stop us.
Hey, Wally, do you have a minute?
Sorry, busy.
I have cake.
Oh, what do you need?
Yeah, see, that's a perfect example of even though we are busy, we make time for what's important.
Yeah, because going back to school as an adult, you're busy with work, you've got family, but if you want to make your education a priority, trust me, you can do it. Betty did.
Like when I first started, I was super intimidated because it had been a while since I've been in school. But I mean, from the very first conversation, I felt like they were setting me up for success.
Yeah, and going back to school with CCU's flexible online courses makes it so convenient.
Yeah, and what's so cool is every class has a biblical worldview perspective. And so you think, well, how can they turn math into a biblical worldview? They find a way.
Yeah, and that was one of my jobs when I was teaching at CCU, was integrating not just the facts and figures of things, but how your faith plays into what you're going to do.
CCU offers Christ-centered higher education, transforming students to impact the world with grace and truth.
Cultivate your mind without compromising your heart. Get started today at online.ccu.edu. Colorado Christian University is a non-profit impact partner.
If you want something that feels different from the regular news, we've got you covered. It's News-ish on The Wally Show.
I love correlation type studies, like what your favorite Starbucks drink says about you. Do you guys know the Bible translation that you read? Do you know what it is?
NLT.
NLT, New Living Translation.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one that the station uses as well, that we use at Way FM. So this is a study that shows what your favorite Bible translation says about you.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Now, I say study loosely, okay? It's more funny.
Okay.
But anyway, so the NIV, a lot of people read the NIV, and it's 3 categories. Things you can't live without. And theirs is button-downs and flannels because suits are for squares. Jesus calling, devotional book, and Instagram.
Nice.
That's who you are if you rock the NIV. Most likely to be spotted at the only vegetarian restaurant in town. And you have the uncanny ability to find the perfect verse in every situation, even if no one wants to hear it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right, well, let's move on to Betty and Way FM with the New Living Translation. 3 things you can't live without. Essential oils.
No.
Your journal, yes.
Yes.
You do like a
Yeah.
good journal.
And cold brew coffee.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
See, that's not. I'm curious if any of these. I know it's designed to be funny, but do any of them land?
Is there anything for, old schoolers out there?
Oh, I'm getting there.
King James.
Trust me. It says, where are you most likely to be spotted at? Wherever the Spirit takes you. And you have the uncanny ability to show up late every single time, no matter where you go, but you always have really creative excuses. The King James, that's the version that
Yes.
I've rocked for a lot of years.
Come on.
Yeah. That's what, I grew up with it. So if I'm ever quoting scripture, it's always in my head from when I was a kid. Things you can't live without. Your favorite spot on the pew. The Left Behind series and McDonald's coffee. Most likely to be spotted at Cracker Barrel before 5 p.m.
This is my grandpa.
And you use the English language, the King's English, while you're praying.
Wow.
Oh, that's pretty accurate. I have been known to eat at 4:58. And then finally, this one is, I think, my favorite. The Message Bible. 3 things you can't live without. The shack, a hemp necklace, and saying, don't give me theology, just give me Jesus.
Oh, my word.
You have the uncanny ability to believe you're actually reading a Bible translation. And
gosh.
you're most likely to be spotted anywhere but church.
That's awesome.
Again, that was just for fun, comedy's sake. If you read the message, good on you. Uplifting Way FM, this is The Wally Show. And I know we're not at Christmas yet, but Betty Rock was telling me a story the other day that is very Christmas related.
Yeah, so I found out recently that a friend of mine, now keep in mind, she has 4 children and a husband, okay? But she told me, she said, yeah, I wait till December 24th to get all my Christmas shopping done.
How is that possible?
Open on
No.
You can't do that.
Shocking. No, she said
What?
she said there's something about the stress of it all, the time where it's like there's a cutoff date. She's like, I just get a coffee, I get in my car, and I just go and I get it done.
And your kids get horrible presents because there's things that aren't left now because you didn't do it
Socks.
earlier.
I don't know.
Exactly.
She's been doing it for years, and it works for her. I mean, I just thought that's crazy.
Yeah, I couldn't function like that. Like, I like to have all of my Christmas shopping done by the first week of December. Like, I like to be done, so then I can just enjoy the holiday.
I
Like,
get
the
that.
stress of it's too much for me. And so, like, right now, I'm starting on my wife's stuff. We're doing a smaller Christmas this year, we
That's
agreed.
what you say every time, and you end up buying her so many things.
No, I'm not going to do this year
Sure,
because we're doing a
that's what
trip
you
instead.
say every year.
I know. So I'm going to do that. Every year we make a special, each of us make something for our daughter, like her special gift. And I've already done that for my daughter. So I'm done. And so I'm feel pretty hopeful. I could not wait till the 24th. There's no way.
I mean, it works for some people. Maybe they work better under a lot of pressure, while others are like, I don't like that at all.
Okay, well, I think that is weird. So we're going to do Am I Weird Because Christmas edition here, or holiday edition. It could be Thanksgiving related as well. But am I weird because that thing that you do that makes you holiday weird, okay? Like, people don't understand. Like shopping on the 24th.
Right.
Betty, Gavin, and I don't understand that.
Maybe you've told someone, a close friend or a family member, what it is that you do around the holidays, and you thought it was normal, but then you got the reaction of, that's crazy.
You let us be the people that either let you know that, yeah, your family's right, or no, you're not weird. We do the same exact thing. You're normal. 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. We're doing a little Am I Weird Because Christmas edition right now. 855-33-WAY-FM. What is your Christmas Am I Weird Because?
My Christmas list is an extensive spreadsheet with names divided up by families, present ideas, presents I bought, have I wrapped it, have I delivered it.
Wow.
It's a whole spreadsheet.
I do not find this weird at all. I think Betty thinks it's weird.
It is. It sounds like it's a lot of trouble to put together.
And the different families, I have to wrap their presents in different wrapping papers. So
my goodness.
one family gets all their presents in blue, the other family gets all their presents in the silver wrapping paper.
You are not weird at all in my world, because let me tell you this. My daughter gets her own wrapping paper that we wrap everything in. I have my wife, and she gets her own, and I get my own. That way we know whose gifts are whose. With my wife, I write down everything I'm buying her. I write down the date that I ordered it, the credit card I put it on, and when it's suspected to arrive. And then when it gets here, I put an asterisk by it so I know that it's already here and that I need to wrap it still. So, man, we could have a Christmas party.
You're both high maintenance. Yay!
I'm thinking I need to add another column or two in my spreadsheet now.
Yeah, I know. I think I just inspired you. So there you go.
You did.
I appreciate you being on the show with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
What do you got?
So I take down all the Christmas decorations either on Christmas Day or the day after. I just put them all away.
Christina, do you have children in the home? And if so, I feel sorry for them.
No, we do. But by that point, I'm just so sick of Christmas that I'm just done.
I get it.
All of the wrapping, all of the decorating myself, so I'm just done at that point.
Yeah, I don't think you're weird at all, Christine. I would do the exact same thing.
I think you're crazy.
All right, Tisha, you're up. What is your Am I Weird Because Christmas thing?
Hi, my Am I Weird Christmas thing is I would not wrap my kids' gifts because I don't know how to and I'm lazy at it. So I would hide their gifts around the house and make them look for them like a scavenger hunt. They weren't wrapped or anything.
You know what? That's
Some
fun.
of them might have been put in the bag, though.
That's a way to turn a negative into a positive and make it something fun.
I thought it was neat. My kids hated it. Boys, they want to rip open gifts, not go look for them. There'll be a pair of pants folded up under the cushion of the couch or something like that. They hated it.
Yeah, I love it, Tisha. I think it's a great idea, and I appreciate you being on the show with us today.
Thank you guys so much. You all have a great, blessed day.
Jingle, jingle, jingle.
Uplifting Way FM, this is the Wally Show. It's finally here, our winner of our Jingle contest. We had done this a little bit ago. Chandler was our winner. She submitted a jingle along with like 400 other people. Just normal people going, hey, here would be a fun jingle for the Wally Show. And we flew her out here. We sent her to Capitol CMG Studios and partnered her up with the band We the Kingdom. And we shot a video of her recording her jingle professionally with the band. It was impressive watching the band do their thing, was it not, Gavin and Betty?
It's like a whole nother language. When they're sitting there doing what they do, they know what they're doing. They're awesome.
Yeah, and they were doing like, hey, fly this over to this point, and the producers there doing stuff. I'm over there trying to be as distracting as possible and just enjoying it and having a good time. But I definitely hindered the process a little bit.
Yeah, at one point your hips were near a microphone.
That was not my fault. They asked me to.
Sense.
They asked me to do that, and I did it. And I don't know why, but I did. So if you want to see the whole video, just text the word jingle to 91979. That's jingle to 91979, and we will send you a link. But here is what we started with. This was her original submission. Chandler here.
Well, I start my day off the best way I know. A lot of fun, a little weird. Who isn't, though? In your house, in your car, wherever you go. Time to turn up the Wally Show.
And originally we're like, okay, we'll just do it as like an a cappella jingle. But then when we partnered with We the Kingdom, they're like, we're not letting you out of here like that. Mm-hmm. We're going to add some piano and some guitar and some bass and some foot stomps and some hand claps. And they did it up. Now, I will say this. I have to say this. They came up with an intro for the song they added to this that I had zero to do with. I did not.
Sure.
I did not. And I even said this in the thing. I said, no, everyone needs to be on the same page that I did not ask for this or insist that this be in there. Now, do I hate it? Absolutely not. Because it was super good for my ego. But here is the debut of Chandler's Wally Show jingle with We the Kingdom.
Wally, Wally, Wally.
Start my day off the best way I know. A lot of fun, a little weird. Who isn't, though? In your house, in your car, wherever you go. Time to turn up the Wally Show.
There you go. She absolutely crushed that.
Yeah, she did.
So good.
And you can watch the whole journey when you text the word jingle to 91979. That's jingle to 91979 and see those hips that unfortunately don't lie.
They do not lie. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's really cool to see the band and doing all that stuff. So if you want to check it out again, jingle to 91979. And Chandler, thank you. You totally killed it, girl.
Over 20 million fans have made Trans-Siberian Orchestra their holiday tradition. Bring the whole family and make it part of yours. The Lost Christmas Eve, returning to the stage for the first time in over 10 years. Coming to a city near you. Go to tsotickets.com for show dates and tickets. Don't miss the all-new show. Soaring guitars, dazzling lasers, and enough pyro to keep you warm all season. Coming to a city near you. Go to tsotickets.com for show dates and tickets. The Lost Christmas Eve, live in concert.
Things you didn't know you needed to know today. It's News-ish with Gavin.
Everyone, and maybe except for maybe Wally, has missed a deadline on something. And sometimes it's because we're working hard on it, and maybe we think it's worth a little extra time to make it a little bit better. But apparently, that might not be the case in the eyes of the person that you're turning this thing into. Researchers found that if you submit something late, people will think that it's lower in quality than if you submitted the same work, literally the same thing on time. So they see the lateness as being, makes you look incompetent, and thus makes the piece not as great.
Here's a little secret too. On time, actually a little late. I always like to over deliver, and so if I have a deadline that's Friday, I want to have it there by Thursday at the latest. Usually I'll have it there by Monday.
You want to know what the interesting thing was, though? Is that they said that, according to the research, it said it didn't matter if the work was early.
Well, that's a lie.
In terms of making it look better to the person.
Really? That's interesting. But late so early doesn't matter. It doesn't help you, but late only hurts you.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how late. They said, a day late, a week late, it still has the same impact.
10 minutes late, still the same.
So the lesson is if you're turning a homework assignment in late, might as well make it a week. Make it a month.
No, that wasn't the lesson.
I like where you're going with this.
Because it's not going to get any worse.
That's awesome.
That was not the lesson at all. The lesson is still turn it in early because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But no, it doesn't even matter.
But deadlines are important, though.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of deadlines, we have a deadline right now as we come into support drive tomorrow. We're kicking that off. We've had somebody put up $20,000 to challenge you to say, hey, I want to get involved with this too. And they're looking for, we started off at 100 people doing their best monthly gift, whatever that looks like, whether it's $10 a month or $30 a month, doesn't matter. Your best monthly gift counts towards this challenge. And so, Betty Rock, do you know where we're at right now? We've had some movement here today.
Yeah, we've had 72 people step up and say, hey, I'm going to do my best monthly gift. So I can't do the math.
I can, 28. We're down to 28 people left.
28 people doing their best monthly gift. Like Wally said, that could look like for you $20 a month, $50 a month, $100 a month. Whatever it is, we need you right now texting the word give to 91979. We will send you a link that's give to 91979 or by simply going to wayfm.com.
And together we'll have over $20,000 worth of impact before we even get to support drive. If Way FM matters to you, if you like it, if you know it, you love it, you listen to it, and you want to go that deeper level and support it, your monthly gift right now turns into $20,000. So thank you for what you do for your Way FM, and thank you for considering this. At 28 people, we could finish this in just the next little bit. Like, how cool is that? Within a couple hours, we could have that done and be moving into support drive tomorrow with $20,000+ ready to go. So if you want to help out, it would be amazing. Text the word give to 91979. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. And there's a verse in the Bible that I know some women kind of bristle at. It's in Ephesians 5:22. For wives, this means submit to your husbands as to the Lord, as the church submits to Christ, so wives should submit to your husbands in everything. And a lot of women are like, what in the world?
Well, it's mainly just because that means submitting to someone that could be possibly messed up and not put you first. And so it's...
Or what if they're great, but it's just the idea of being subservient is, I think, what a lot of people have a problem with, you know? And the idea of the word submission is problematic for a lot of people. But what if you heard it in the context that this preacher did it? I wonder if it would change your perspective a little bit here. Check this out, Rock.
Submit to your husbands. But then it says, husbands, love your wife like Christ loved the church. What did Christ do for the church? So God says to the man, die! And he says to the woman, submit. So here's the thing for the fellas. Are you a man worth submitting to? Ladies, are you a woman worth dying for?
Oh, come on.
I love that girl in the back. Yeah, that'll preach. But yeah, I do like that perspective. It's like, as men, if we expect women to, in essence, with the word submit to us or follow us or just, listen to us, we have to be worth listening to, worthy of that.
Right.
And women, if you, want to be loved, cherished, honored, and someone that a guy is supposed to die for, then there's an onus on you to be that person that is worth dying for, kind of thing. So basically, it's taking the thing that each of you is responsible to do for the other, but turning it back on yourself to be that person that's worth that.
Exactly. You just need to. I think most women want to submit to their husbands. I think they want them to be the leader, but sometimes the man is not making himself the one that you want to submit to. So it takes personal work on both parties.
Yeah, for guys, if you want your wife to listen more to you or let you lead more, you have to be worthy of following, is what the principle behind this is. And I thought that was really good. Like that hit me pretty good. I'm hoping that it lands with other people that maybe have kind of struggled with that verse. But the thing I want to talk about, though, is there's something about your faith that you never quite got before, but then somebody broke it down. Maybe you're watching a TikTok video. That's where I've seen a bunch of stuff from different pastors that are posting on that. I'm like, that's a really salient thought. I love that. I hadn't thought of that. It makes sense. So have you had that thing in your faith that you didn't quite understand, but somebody really simplified it for you and made it make sense? I'd love to hear yours, because your explanation of something might be something that someone else has struggled through, and we'll give them clarity today. So 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. If you got a thought on this, I'd love to take it right now. Has somebody ever explained something to you or really simplified something for you about your faith that landed?
Yes. I grew up in a work-based church. So faith without works is dead, and you got to work your way into heaven. Also grew up where I was terrified I would lose my salvation. One day I was sitting in church after I had started going to a Baptist church, and we were in Romans, and all of a sudden he said, for the wages of sin are death. And it hit me, what is a wage? A wage is what I have to work for. I have to work to go to hell. But the gift, it's a gift. I can't do anything to deserve it. Nothing. I open it and I accept it, and that's all there is to it. As I grew, I began to realize that my works are based on my faith, and I want to do them because of the gift.
Yeah, when you finally understand like the gift of God and that it is something that's free and that he's never going to love you any more or any less than he does right now, that, you know, you're set, you're good, that's pretty freeing inside of your faith. And that all the works and the things we try to do to get to God don't matter. It's the story of God getting to us, which is what's so important and what separates Christianity from every other world religion.
Jen, she shared the one that really resonated with her on our Facebook page. She said, if you think you've blown God's plan for your life, rest in this. You are not that powerful.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, because
how many times do we do that?
Right. We think, well, I'm going to make this mishap and then that's going to mess up everything. But I think that's when we're putting God in a box and we need to take him out of that box and realize he's so much bigger than any mistake we could ever make.
Yeah, I always picture him like a GPS, like recalculating when you turn left and you miss the thing because the blue dot did not move fast enough. And you're like, nuts. And I think God recalculates us. But Mike Donahue from the band 10th Avenue North had a really good perspective also on God's will for your life that might surprise you a little bit.
Kids would come up to me and they'd say, when did you know being a musician was God's will for your life? I go, oh, it's not. And they go, what? If I believe that being a musician is God's will for my life, what happens if I get in a car accident and I break my throat? I can't sing. What happens if I break my fingers, can't play? What happens if my brain gets injured and I can't write lyrics? Have I missed God's will for my life now? That question has already been answered in Scripture. Be joyful always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances. This is God's will for your life. Micah 6:8. What does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, to walk humbly. In other words, it seems to me, scripturally, that God's plan for your life is not a career path. God's plan for your life is the posture of your heart.
So there you go. A little mic drop for you on God's will for your life. I think that's really good.
Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.
Uplifting Way FM. This is The Rock Report with Betty Rock.
Well, we're not that far out of finding out who the 47th president of the United States is.
Yeah.
And so now there are some celebrities that are taking to social media to vent about their reactions. And I think it's interesting that the first two I'm going to mention, these are characters or people that were very impactful to the millennial bunch.
Okay.
And so as kids, we loved them. And now as we're older and maybe dealing with election anxiety, these same characters are stepping up to help out. So in the case, Steve Burns, you know him as the original host of Blue's Clues, okay?
No.
The guy that wore the green striped sweater. He didn't say anything. He just released a video, and it's just a video of him standing outside leaning on a fence. He's drinking coffee outside and just listening to the birds off in the distance.
That's so great. Does that work like for a millennial kid? Like you're like,
I don't know.
I'm calm now. This is great, Steve.
I think if Steve were helpful for you in your childhood and you saw him setting an example of maybe how we all should be, then
maybe
that speaks to you.
Yeah, maybe it's a subtlety of going, hey, don't go crazy, don't go post, it's gonna be okay. Because I would like to point this out, like years ago when, say, Obama won, for example, there were people that were like, oh my goodness, this is the worst thing, our country's gonna die, and it didn't. And so there are people that look at Trump and go, the worst thing, our country's going to die. It won't. Mm-hmm. You know, and so had Kamala won, there will be people going, it's the worst thing, our country's going to die. It won't. It keeps going. And so it's okay. Everything is literally going to be okay.
Well, Elmo, on his Twitter account, he did check in.
Oh, thank you.
It was so cute because, once again, the video, is him saying nothing.
Mhm.
But he's sitting on the porch of one of the Sesame Street houses.
Yeah.
Just sitting on the steps with this little stuffed animal. It's precious. And he's just checking in. I looked at the comments. Most are hilarious, but one said,
great.
Sesame Street coming in clutch to protect the current adults it helped raise from election anxiety was not the act of heroism I expected, but one I very much appreciate.
Elmo's a hero.
Heroism.
Oh my goodness.
On the other side of things, Jeff Bezos, the main guy of Amazon, he congratulated Trump and wished him all the success. And then even Jay Leno, he tweeted out, "It's a great day for democracy."
Oh, interesting. I had watched a thing with Scott Baio. I guess Scott Baio is a Republican because I think Henry Winkler had read a list of actors that were supporting Trump and then maligned them or whatever. And then so Scott Baio did the same thing. He read all these actors that had supported Kamala, and then at the end his commentary was just. It's
my word.
I watched it. I'm like, oh, dude, that was like not cool.
See, so when you see that,
Yeah,
and then you see what
exactly.
Steve Burns from Blue's Clues did, and
Yeah.
Elmo, they didn't say anything.
Yeah.
They spoke with action, not with words.
Exactly, and that's probably what we all should be doing in this little bit of time, regardless of how this thing went, for you or against you. Speaking your actions speaking louder with kindness, love, and grace would be a really good thing right now. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. Betty and Gavin, have you seen that video on TikTok especially? It's probably on Reels too, of the little girl who's all excited about Christmas, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I'm going to spend your money because I'm going to have to buy an ornament and a nutcracker."
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
So funny.
Yeah, Christmas has that kid's number. That's Betty Rock. Anytime Betty Rock or Bath and Body sends out a flyer for like candles and things like that, that's her. And a nutcracker.
You know you're looking at a slightly poorer Betty whenever you walk in the studio, you see candles littering her computer screen. I'm
It's an issue.
There she
It's a
goes.
problem. Bath and Body Works, they have my number. And literally they do. They send me text messages and it'll tell what sale they're having.
Yeah.
Just recently they sent me a text and I am quoting. It said, "We notice you noticing us. Don't miss out on these fantastic fragrance finds." And then it has a link. It's terrible. They have my number. And the thing is too, I know I have maybe 24. I know it's in the 20s. Of 3-wick candles
where you could
at
stop,
my
where
apartment.
you could stop buying more.
I totally could. Yet there was such a great deal I couldn't pass up, and they had just released their new holiday scents.
You gotta get
and
some
so
of those.
I at least limited it down to 3.
Yeah, for you, but then
Great.
you bought 3 and 3 more. You bought 9 total.
Well, those are for others.
yeah, for gifts.
If
Yeah.
it gets to them.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. There was at one point in time, Betty Rock had, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood, in her house, in the cupboards and stuff, 320 candles. Something like that.
I just said it's in the 20s.
It's like more cats
Yeah.
than she has.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, by one.
But if the place catches on fire, it's going to smell fantastic.
Oh, it will be. Yes.
It's going to smell like lavender and roses.
Marshmallows.
Yes.
I can't throw too many stones at you because TikTok Shop has my number.
It does.
They are so good at telling me things that I didn't even know I needed, but now I must have. Like their algorithm for what I like is so on
And you fall
point.
for it every single
I know
time.
it's so good, but I beat the system. I look for the item and then I buy it on Amazon because it gets here faster and I can return it. Yeah.
Look
easy.
at you.
You're
Yeah.
winning. Look
I
at
showed
you.
them, but ultimately they still have my number. They're winning. So hey, let's talk about this. 855-33-WAY-FM. What is it that has your number, or who is it that has your number? You feel powerless when something comes across your vision. You're like, nope, I got to do this. I'm in. Like Betty Rock, it's Bath and Body Candles. Me, it's TikTok Shop. What's it for you? 855-33-WAY-FM.
The company that actually has my number is Pink Zebra. And oh my gosh, the Pink Zebra is very fragrant, non-toxic. It's amazing.
I don't even know what Pink Zebra is.
I'm looking it up.
Oh no, Betty Rock, they're going to get your number, Rock.
I know. And they have holiday scents.
Sandy
What is
works for Pink
this?
Zebra. She's a genius.
Oh, it looks like they have bath salts and diffusers, home care, and pet. Oh, a wax warmer.
Oh.
Oh, you can even get on their subscription list.
Oh.
What is the scent that you would?
Recommend asking for a friend?
Yeah, just asking for a friend. Don't worry about it.
I tell you what, my favorite right now, and it changes, is Winter Woods.
That sounds amazing. And sometimes, too,
amazing.
it's just fun to read the description of the scents.
No, absolutely. Yeah, like somebody got paid good money to write down nonsensical sentences for fragrances for
They have
candles.
one called Hearthside Holiday and Sugar Plum Fairy, Tinsel Twinkle.
Oh my God. Yes.
Well,
Yes,
I'm not
yes,
going to get
and
any more
yes.
work out of Betty today, so let's just call it. All right, that's going to do it for the show. Thank you, Sandy. Who's got your number, Leanne?
That would be Krispy Kreme donuts.
Oh, that's a bad place to have your number for multiple reasons. One, their donuts are not cheap anymore. And two, their donuts stay with you. Like if you eat too many of them.
That is correct. They have gone up in price, but I do get the hot light notification.
That's a thing?
Oh, yes. My phone goes off and I have hearing aids and it goes right in my hearing aids.
Oh my gosh.
Donuts are hot.
It's funny with no one around you to tell you this and it goes in your hearing aids. I'm sure there's times you might be kind of like a little sleepy or whatever and all of a sudden you just hear donuts are hot and you're like, yes, Lord.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Uplifting WayFM, this is the Wally Show, and every generation has their own slang. And as you get older, the things that kids say barely make sense. So I came across something that might help. It's what Gen Z worship songs would sound like if they were to be sung. And this way you would know kind of in context, if you know the worship song, what they're actually saying. And you can then extrapolate that from there. Okay. So this is what a Gen Z worship song would sound like if sung in church.
You hit different. Yes, you slap. Yes, you slap. I will clap back on the devil, 'cause he's always acting sus. 'Cause it's giving sanctuary.
It's giving sanctuary.
And you're vibing here with us.
Oh. When the world is mid and you're here vibing with us. Oh my
I love
goodness.
it.
I got to tell you, I would love to hate that, but I cannot be mad at that at all. I mean, it's not sus.
It's not
great.
mid.
No, that
It's-
right there was Sigma. 100% Sigma.
Well, that's the end, but it doesn't have to be. Check out our Aftercast. It's new stuff you didn't hear in the podcast. Be sure to rate us on iTunes as well as connect with us on social media. Just search Wally Show. And if you'd like to join our Facebook group made exclusively for you potties, the link is in the description of this podcast. Thanks to Colorado Christian University Online for supporting what we do.